So everybody, iPadOS 18.3 has finally released to the entire public, and in this video we're going to walk through every single change and difference because there were a good amount of things that people should be aware of, especially when it comes to notification summaries, as well as your calculator, and finally some cool screen recording stuff that's coming your way. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Well, alright everyone, let's get right into this video, and the first thing we're going to do is talk about the build number and the actual size of this update because it was relatively substantial, especially since this is a major update. So we're looking at about a 7 gig update, so give yourself about 14 gigs of open storage in order to install this thing correctly to make sure there's no issues moving forward. And then when it comes to a build number standpoint, I'm technically on the RC edition, but it's going to be the same thing for the public version, which is going to be 18.322D60. So that is what you're going to be looking at when it comes to a build number perspective on the iPad Pro, and I'm using an M4 iPad Pro, so you guys are aware of which device I'm using. Now let's start off relatively simple here and go into the calculator application. So the calculator app did remove a feature that a lot of people liked, and if you guys aren't aware of this currency converter, I highly recommend checking out our most recent video about the best iPadOS 18 type of features that went under the radar. But if we go into our basic calculator and get rid of the convert section, you now have the ability to go and use a repeatable equal sign. So what does that mean? So if I want to multiply this 150, let's say by 2, I press equal, it's going to give me 300. Whereas before, it would still give me the 300, but then if I wanted to do it again, I would have to physically go in. But now I can just continue to press equal, and it's going to run that same arithmetic every single time and continue to grow as much as I see fit. And then of course, if I want to divide it by 2, I press equal, and then we go down again, all the way to where we started, which was at 150, and even below that. So for some reason, when Apple updated and gave us the calculator application with 18.0, they removed this feature from all the calculator applications across all their devices, but now it is back. And then one last thing to note is that they have not brought back, let's say if I do 250 here, you used to be able to swipe this away, but now you do have to physically press this button. So do keep that in mind, but at least we now have the ability to have the repeatable formatting with the calculator application. Some other fun things to take into consideration is that now with Homekit, it will be able to support robot vacuums, but as of right now, there aren't too many robot vacuums, if any, that are supported by Homekit, but just be aware that now Homekit is ready to be able to control robot vacuums moving forward, which is a nice little touch because I do actually have 2 of them, one for upstairs and downstairs, and I do have to use the individual applications in order to use them, so it is nice that now Homekit does enable that. And then before we get into the big one, I wanted to mention one more. So for instance, if we go into Safari, and right here I'm on Pexels, which is basically a copyright-free video downloader. So for instance, if I want to download this video, and I'm just using this as an example, this happens for anything that is downloaded, and I press this right here to download the selected size, I start downloading, and here is where you're going to get this pop-up, which we've known and gotten accustomed to. But if I press download, of course you're seeing this, which has always been around, but then you also see that little new indicator, as well as if I scroll down here, you have an indicator letting you know that this is being downloaded in the background as a live activity. So this is all new stuff that I hadn't noticed before, and let me know in the comment down below if you had noticed this prior, and if we continue to download it, it goes fully downloaded and we should be good to go. Okay everybody, so now let's get into this notification summary situation because there's a lot of differences that have been happening both on the front end and the back end. So if I go into my settings, and if you scroll down to notifications, you want to make sure that this is either turned off or on, but the way you control that is through Summarize notifications, and you have this toggle right here. So I'm going to turn it off to show you guys what's going to happen when I do toggle it on, because by default it's actually turned off. So the first thing you're going to notice is that there's a new note. So it says summaries may contain errors, which is something that we hadn't seen before. Because again, if you guys have been on the internet, on X, on Twitter, on 9to5Mac, you'll know that a lot of these summaries, especially the news-related ones, can be a little bit misleading or giving you information that's a little bit more excessive than it actually should be, or vice versa. But if we turn this on, you do get this new situation. And even though we are on a public release of 18.3, the summarization part is still in beta because again, it's working off of Apple Intelligence, but it lets you know the breakdown of what's about to happen. So next up, you're going to choose the notifications to summarize. So this is the interesting one, right? So you have 3 different categories that it uses when it comes to notifications and what it's going to be summarizing. You have news and entertainment, communication and social, and then finally all other applications. So you do have to tap on these one by one. So we'll tap on this one, and now the new part is that with 18.3, you do get this new kind of red notice saying that it's temporarily unavailable. So Summaries will automatically appear when available, which as of right now it's not, and they're doing this for all news and all entertainment. So again, Netflix, TV, if you follow CNN or Fox News, even Spotify is considered entertainment, the News Plus application, that's all not going to be summarized anymore. It's going to be quote unquote normal notifications. So I'm going to press summarize all notifications. And then if you want to, you can go one by one and turn off and on the ones that you do want and the ones that you don't want. I personally like to keep it on because I'd say about 85 to 90% of the time, it is a useful summarization for me personally. So now if we go into our lock screen, you're going to notice a few things here. First and foremost, you now have a new indicator aside from the little notifications here that you are using this and it's being summarized with Apple notification summaries. And the indicator is going to be the italics. So the italics right here let us know that this is a summarization. So for instance, with Redfin, it says new construction home in Wantage Township, the estimated price, and again, you can see that there's colons and periods kind of separating each portion. But then if you go into an entertainment one, like the Netflix or the HBO one, you can see that this is not italicized, meaning that it's not a summarization and it's an actual notification. Secondly, you are now able to manage your notifications directly from the lock screen. So if I want to change something about this Redfin one, I swipe to the left, and now I have this options menu, and look at the abundance of options that you now get. You have the ability to mute it for an hour, mute it for the day, add to your overall summary, view in settings, turn off Redfin summaries, turn it off completely, or even report a concern. So again, if we go into our settings right here, you can actually go directly into the settings and then change up the specific Redfin notification settings overall, which is nice to see. And then one thing to note is if I turn off Redfin summaries, you cannot actually go back. So if I swipe over and press on options, you have to physically go back to the settings to actually turn it back on. So if I go over here and I show summarize notifications, you have to make sure that this tab is turned on to get those summarizations back for that specific application, and you'll be good to go. So if I swipe down, you can see that it is back to there. If I do this, and then if I swipe down, you can see that it's no longer being summarized because I turned that toggle off. And then lastly, like I mentioned, you do have the ability to leave some feedback or report a concern, and there will be a new feedback loop that we did get some information on, so it doesn't actually have to be a concern, but you can actually just give overall feedback, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So that's all coming to the rest of the notification summaries. And let me know with a comment down below if you guys are fans of notification summaries. I personally do like them, but I can see how some people might not at this point. So one more thing to bring up before I get into bug fixes is that we're going to get a new overall layout for screen recording. Now this isn't out with 18.3 quite yet, but if you guys are aware, this is the screen record button and this works across your iOS, iPadOS device, and of course you can even do it on your macOS device, but if you long press, you do get a couple of other options normally. So you have the ability to turn your microphone on, and you have the ability to cast to different applications, whether it is GPT, Discord, Gmail, or whatever the case may be, and you just press start recording, and it'll start to get that done for you. What's coming out soon is threefold. The first one is going to be that they're going to add a new picture-in-picture camera, meaning that you'll be able to use a selfie camera on any of your devices to then be able to overlay that to the screen recording, which I think is going to be amazing for things like explainer videos or walking people through things and tutorials. Secondly, we're going to get stereo mic support. So again, if you want to use something like your headphones, if you want to use something like an actual dedicated microphone, it'll now pick that up in stereo sound. And then lastly, it will be getting HDR support. So all that's coming to the screen recording application or screen recording utility, which I'm very, very happy for. And the final bug fix that we did see was, obviously, when it comes to interacting with the new Apple Intelligence version of Siri, you can long press to get the Siri animation, or you can double tap on the home screen or the home bar to type to Siri. People with 18.3 and even 18.2, the public version, were having this bug where sometimes the keyboard wouldn't show up, but now that is going to be fully fixed when you do update to 18.3. But that is everything that we got with 18.3 that's related to the iPad. There are some visual intelligence things that I do recommend you guys check out our iOS video for, but let's finish up this video. So that will just about do for this video, everybody. Let me know in the comment down below what you think. Are these enough changes to warrant an 18.3 update? Are you a fan of all the changes that happened to the notification summaries and the calculator? And then of course, all the new Safari stuff that happens from a downloadable content standpoint. Let me know in the comment down below what you think, but overall, I think this is a great quality of life update, but I'm very excited for 18.4, which we should get the first developer beta coming out in the next coming days, maybe even the same day that 18.3 comes out, because that should have a lot of this different implementation when it comes to Apple Intelligence and how it's going to take some app actions for you, which is promised back during WWDC 2024 in the summertime. So that'll do it for this video, everybody. If you did make it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know that you made it to the end. Also, leave a comment below if you guys are iPad warriors like I am, because I'm always a fan of using my iPad as the main computer. But if you guys want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, I'm Fernando, and I'm out of here, everybody. Peace.